Welcome to this special rock and roll edition. Before I proceed, do utter another single word. I want to say thank you to the farmers of La Belle Province, of which this Quebecer Canadian North American is from La Belle Province, Quebec, live streaming on Facebook and rock and roll it on YouTube. It is 1:18 p.m. on this rainy day. Flood warning ongoing. I was about to go out, but I'm gonna try to fix my things after this cup of coffee. Work, do some emails in order to settle a bill of about $400, which got for a phone company, and gonna settle my $10,000 debt. And being financially struggling, financially, this independent artist, athlete, and activist, putting my financial struggles aside, I am grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bill is paid for the month of April. It is April 17th, 2023, and I'm grateful, thankful that I got this coffee, and not only coffee, but I am grateful, thankful for this honey. Honey was from local Quebec, La Belle Province, of which I am a Quebecer. Quebecer artist, athlete, activist, North American, Canadian, who was born twice in the USA in past lives, who's not perfect, far from it. We're gonna discuss XYZ. I've been depressed and suicidal. I've conquered depression. I have conquered depression by working out, training, and exercising, which has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. I encourage all to work out, to train, and to exercise. Let's do a little bit of stretching right now. Left and right, get the body moving, and the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And how do we invest in the body? By working out, training, and exercising. And it is super important to channel and sublimate, my brothers and sisters, the aggression. I admit I have aggression in me, but to harm none, so that we harm none, we do push-ups and hugs, whatever we're channeling. Super important key two words of my psychological philosophies and my philosophies as a whole is to channel and sublimate, whether into art, comedy, doing movie, dancing, working out, training and exercising, doing work, cleaning. Still gonna do a little bit of cleaning today. Did a little bit earlier cleaning today and last night, as I am on an ongoing 93-day new journey. Right march to the mountain as it is. Right here, 1:20 p.m. in the afternoon. If I would have a radio television for an hour show on the radio, it wouldn't be. It would have to be a little bit bilingual, because this is going to be a bilingual special de chez nous. De chez nous, de la belle province. Je vous invite tous et toutes à la danse. Because I'm a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, even though I was born in past lives, past incarnations, and I was born right here on this island, helped Louis Cyr, the strong Quebecer, strongest man ever, supposedly, who ever lived, who helped to push some carts on a horse, some horses on a cart. Helped Louis Cyr in a past life. I was born as a Quebecer. And I'm a Quebecer now, Canadian, North American. Not perfect, far from it. Don't play it self-righteous. I got issues, I got vices, I get moody. And we're going to discuss psychological, irrational things. And of course, the interpretation of dreams is on the menu in this cup of coffee. And of course, I am a universal spiritual teaching student with spiritual questions. Don't know it all. I want, and my dedication and my work is for the rebirth, joy of myself and of course, of Quebec, La Belle Province, of Canada, of course, it's the coast and of the North American civilizational complex. And that rebirth has to come from some action, because action has been and is and will be required in my own healing and transformation. And I've said I've died during COVID, because back in 2020, in about mid-February, early February till about mid-February, I was very sickle and disease. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. So I almost died during COVID, as I'm being reborn, but I'm not perfect, far from it. And of course, got some issues, got some vices. I do admit, guilty, that at some things I am mediocre. At some things I am average. At some things I am so-so. While admitting that at some things I am so-so and average and mediocre, I am great, super, and excellent. At dancing, I created a super good, super efficient workout training program exercise, which requires no equipment and which is effective, efficient, and simple, and requires no equipment whatsoever. And it is good for the body, to train, to exercise the body, since the body, my philosophy is that this body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. And how do we invest in the body? By working out, by training, and by exercising. That is something which I have been, am, and will continue to call for the mass financing, calling on my brothers in the NFL, National Football League, the owners and the players, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB, and multimillionaires and billionaires and all corporations and institutions and unions to mass finance our fellow citizens to work out, to train, to exercise, because working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Before I proceed, I'm going to say rock and roll my gratitude to the farmers, farmers of La Belle Province, Quebec, Canada, coast to coast, of course. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The truckers, gonna rock and roll for you. Cause everybody has to eat and gotta eat. Even Wall Street buying, selling, trading stocks. Please give 10% if you make a million buying, selling, trading stocks. Give 10% if you make a million buying, selling, trading stocks, futures, options, puts that monkey business until 4:30 buying, selling, trading stocks. It is 1:23 here. You got more than 3 hours to go rock and roll. And of course, buy, sell, trading, futures, options, puts. And if you do make a million, please call it a heart from this financially struggling yet rich. In kisses I got by the plenty, tickles and hawks and push-ups and workout drills, gridiron drills, and dancing moves and steps with that, with some poetry and rock and roll songs, as I am a creative artist and philosopher and independent psychological analyst and theorist with my own analysis and my own encouragements and my own struggles which I've lived through, and I am now happy and more content on this day that my rent's paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, and I could work today philosophically, write emails, contact people for participation, collaboration, and partnership and collaboration. Everything that I do is my philosophy, of course, advocating for the North American complex of civilization, aka the collective North American civilization, of which Quebec, La Belle Province, we are part of a collective North American civilization. And of course, my theories, such as the citizen integration theory, which I'm advocating for its implementation across the collective North American civilization, as I am a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist, who's not perfect, far from it, but I'm grateful, thankful I got this honey. See this honey? Gotta thank the bees and gotta thank the farmers. This is local honey from Quebec. See, it says Aliments Quebec. Aliments Quebec, Aliments Quebec. So it's honey from Quebec. Because we got everything we need in this North America. We got everything we need, my brothers and sisters, in this North America. And we got two oceans. That way is the Atlantic to the east. That way is the Pacific to the west. And although I wish I could afford a massage therapy session, I'm grateful, thankful I was able to take a bath yesterday. So I took a bath about an hour, immersed, and felt really good. And of course, it's important to channel and sublimate the negative emotions. And not only the negative emotions, but whatever, of course, even sexual impulses, which I'm going to discuss today. But I will start by sweetening my honey. My coffee, that is, with a little bit of honey. I'm going to say a blessing. Do not reproduce what I just did. Don't do that. Disclaimer. My disclaimer is put on my videos anyway. So cheers. Once again, I'm grateful, thankful that my rent's paid. Fully paid my rent, fully paid my electricity bill, and I got food. And I'm here on this 1:26 p.m. Gonna discuss dream interpretation, the interpretation of dreams. The dreams and their interpretation have been discussed and are discussed even today, maybe even across Montreal, this Montreal metropolis island of 2.5 million people. Somebody right now maybe is taking a nap, is having a dream. Somebody maybe had a dream, is wondering what the dream was all about last night. Sometimes these dreams come from irrational forces, pulsations, impulses, or hidden fears or hidden lust or past experiences which we lived. And as a child, as an adolescent, as a young adult, I don't remember much about my childhood and my early life and my adolescence. I remember more 7, 8, 9, 10 or so years on this island. Paradoxically, remember more past lives, as I'm being reborn here, Adrian H. Dragonborn, being Adrian Hana Dragon. And personally, there's nothing that I want to go back to pre-COVID. I just want to advance and see the implementation of my trinity of theories, which I do firmly believe without a doubt that where we are in the 21st century, for the public-private partnership, which fundamentally my trinity of theories known as the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, the DRT, Debt Row Fusion Theory, and the Democratic Fusion Theory, the DFT, to be implemented, that trinity of theories via LOV, because love is also action, not just blah, 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 because love can come in rainbow ways, and myself not just using the rainbow analogy because I'm part of the LGBTQ community, although I am. The rainbow, of course, is also a symbol for maybe for rebirth, and to integrate all these different energies and forces which we have in the 21st century, which can be intense, right, and sometimes hard to manage, whether sexual liberation and sexual freedom, which, let's face it, it has not come without blood, sweat, and tears for myself, for Quebecers, fellow Quebecers, fellow Canadians, fellow my brothers and sisters in the USA and throughout the North American civilizational collective, the Western world civilization, and throughout the world for that matter, right? Because my LGBTQ rainbow nation across nation is, of course, throughout the world. And it has not come without blood, sweat, and tears for myself personally and for others as well. It's been a long road we took to embark on this freedom, Freedom. But freedom, it has its, I admit, by myself, to lift the sword of freedom is I cannot do it by myself. I got tiny hands, tiny feet, tiny little androgynous, the scarred little androgynous little thing. Sometimes it goes on occasion, very rarely, rocket, ICBM like, but that's very rare on those occasions. Kind of like, how did that happen? But anyways, that's a different story, and we got to use a little bit of humor. I'm 1/7 of a comedian, 1/7 comedian, especially in French comedy, and I believe as a Quebecer myself loves the French language and loves writing poetry and philosophy and doing humor and comedy and rock and roll in French. I believe that Quebec humor is is super cool, super great. But sometimes, of course, it's lost in translation. And if you want to see a little bit of kind of the type of comedy which I do, you got to be watching a little bit of Bon Cop, Back Up, Bon Cop, Back Up, Bon Cop, Back Up 3. So today I'm going to be discussing also among the interpretation of dreams. I'm going to be discussing a law here in Quebec which is called La Loi du Bon Samaritain. And that law has such a simple ethical morality to it, right? And we are a very diverse people, Quebecers, right? We're Quebecers from Montreal, Quebecers, Quebec from the capitale. We have 17 different regions, and we have also Les Îles La Madeleine. So Les Îles La Madeleine is you have to traverse the little bit of a part of the ocean there to reach all the way to Les Îles La Madeleine. And we have the Côte Nord, and we have, of course, les régions du Bas-Saint-Laurent, and we have, of course, Abitibi-Témiscamingue. We have 17 different regions here, so we're very diverse Quebecers, right? We sometimes even the way we speak French can differ from La Beauce, from the Bas-Saint-Laurent, the Trois-Pistoles, Alma, the Saint-Damien, Saint-Adrien. Saint-Adrien, there's two cities in Quebec. If you didn't know that, there's two Saint-Adrien. Adrien, my name, of course, in French. I'm Adrien le Québécois, Adrien le Québécois. The Dragon Arc-en-Ciel, the Rainbow Dragon, is have two cities here in Quebec, which are called. So I'm going to send some loving to all the Belle Province, my fellow Quebecers. I'm going to switch in French anyways afterwards, after about 44 minutes or so, an hour. After an hour of English, I'm going to switch into French because this is the bilingual session. So the dream. So I had a dream, but I had a dream. It was very mixed. So it had philosophy to it, it had science to it, and it had sexuality. And it was in the bus. At one point, it was in the bus with discussing science and tech gadgets. It was the discussion about drones and asking questions about drones and what kind of three types of drones which I could discern on this bus. Kind of seemed like a tourist bus, but almost in a way type of like a school bus. And at one point, I kind of took the wheel. I was at the wheel for a few seconds. I took the wheel, and then I went in the middle of the bus, and we had like these gadgets, tech gadgets. So it was very kind of, because dreams sometimes are very irrational. It's very hard to discern their message, but their message could come from our subconscious, whether biases, whether hidden fears, whatever it is, hidden fears. It could be a fear of so many things, of spiders, for example. I just had a spider in my room on my bed, and I took it. It fell from the sky, and I took it and I put it freedom because I love spiders. I don't harm spiders in my room. Often temple, our God is blessed. So spiders, to me, I don't have the arachnophobia, but we have phobias. Sometimes they're subconscious biases we have, and I'm a pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist. My centrism goes with my theories and hand in hand with me as a philosopher, as an artist. Sometimes I'm hyperactive. Sometimes I'm more energetic, right? And it's important to those energies which are within us and sometimes can be intense. Sometimes it's hard to admit, hey, how come I had this dream? It can be embarrassing, right? It can be embarrassing. Well, embarrassment, XYZ factors of our being. But now where we are, and I'm urging the politicians of Quebec, la belle province, of Canada, coast to coast, of North America, coast to coast, to also, to, if we have certain things of sexuality, to be more open. Because if all my things for the rebirth, my propositions for the implementation of my trinity of theories for a public private partnership, the CIT citizen integration theory, DRT, that fusion theory, and democratic fusion theory, DFT, that trinity of theories to be implemented via LOV, the CIT citizen integration theory, democratic fusion theory, DFT, and the citizen integration theory, the debt refusion theory, and the democratic fusion theory, the trinity of theories to be implemented via love. Please increase in hygiene in public. Please increase in hygiene in public. As you can see, I'm open carrying my disinfectant, and to make that public-private partnership, because right now I'm in my underground room office and temple. I'm here in my underground room office and temple, philosophizing, going live stream on Facebook. I'm grateful, thankful my rent is fully paid. It is 17th of April, mid month already. It is Monday, 17th of April. I'm doing laundry. I got some business after to attend, to write emails, to do XYZ, and perhaps to do a little bit of more cleaning, sweeping my room, office, and temple, as I'm reorganizing, purifying my own room, office, and temple now. Right? And action is required in the things of civilization. I gotta give a shout out to the workers of Hydro Quebec who reestablished the electricity. I lost electricity for more than 3 days. And I'm gonna bless Hydro Quebec so that within the next 7 years, with big dragon hugs, big push-ups, big rock and roll for hydro with that waters and that rivers, build me with the cement and the steel and the concrete. 7 more dams in the next 7 years, because I'm utilizing clean zero pollution energy right now to do this live stream on Facebook and to put it on YouTube. And my coffee machine is running on clean zero pollution energy. It's things we, as a philosopher of Quebec philosopher, Canadian, North American philosopher, who's also a world peace advocate, and the interpretation, I interpret dreams. Well, not that I interpret 100%, because my own dream analysis is going to be on my own dream with my own knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and it is limited. And I admit that some things I am mediocre, at some things I am average, some things I am so. While I'm also great, super, and excellent, I'm the best dancer. And I'm a great geopolitical analyst and theorist. Matter of fact, my geopolitical analysis and theory, which was, of course, I'm referring to the 2019 in October, when I analyzed the geopolitical events which had transpired in the world, and had come to the conclusion that humanity, we are on a path towards an international conflagration. And so May created and designed my workout training program system to go hand in hand with such an event and such a scenario. That's what I'm referring to at the moment. Back when I did, and I concluded back then that unfortunately, humanity, we are again, back in 2019 October, I concluded, due to my geopolitical analysis, I concluded that we, humanity, are again on a path towards an international conflagration. And so made, created, and produced my workout training program designed to go hand in hand with such a scenario. You heard that correct. So, as a geopolitical analyst and theorist, I have great, super, and excellent skills at analyzing the different dimensions of civilization, the interaction between nation states, and the past antecedents which had occurred and transpired of a regional level, at the civilizational level, and between nation states and within and without. So I'm great at that. While I admit that some things I'm mediocre, right? That's why every day when I work, when I during the COVID, as I rock and roll, I say, this is rock and roll for the plumbers, bakers, truckers, doctors, nurses, public security workers, firefighters, and all involved in the production and the distribution of food, because it's a philosopher, artist, and geopolitical analyst and theorist, and the people's athlete. And the people's athlete, that's what I've been doing and am doing and will continue to do, as now my rent's paid for the month of April, and although I'm triple vaccinated and open for business, and although I'm financially struggling, I'm grateful that I paid my electricity bill for the month of April to Hydro Quebec. Thank you, Hydro Quebec, and for the workers for the past, because so many workers were involved since 1944 to build all the 63 dams which now exist across the province of La Belle Province, for us to do everything that we do, from entertainment, from doing laundries. I'm doing laundry and I'm about to put it in the dryer to dry it. I'm about to do a second load. I got my coffee machine. All that comes from clean zero pollution energy, thanks to those workers who worked to build all these dams across this La Belle Province. Hey, think about that for a second, for a meditation. 1944 till now, tens of thousands, hundreds, maybe even millions worked in any way or capacity, shape, or form to build those dams with cement, with steel, with wires, with building and doing all the work necessary to connect all the cities and giving all to six states now to the US, and it goes all the way to Manhattan. The electricity from here, La Belle Province, it goes all the way to Manhattan, New York. Clean, zero pollution, zero emission, utilizing renewable energy. So that's why I'm blessing Hydro-Quebec so that from now in the next 7 years to build another 7 more dams, because I want to help to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple. If I am to build something, I want to build the temple here in this island, because this is what I know. This Montreal Island, as a Quebecer, Canadian, North American, universal spiritual teaching student who is not perfect, far from it, who has cuckold fantasies, One day out of 7 I have cuckold fantasies. There you go. You know something about me, Mossad. CIA, RCMP, CSIS. You know. You gotta know my secrets. We're good to go. So back to dream interpretations. But that being part of the public sphere, because we have a dimension. The dimensions are the public and the private. The public and the private. Right now I'm in my private room of St. Temple. My rent's paid for the month of April. I paid my rent. Yay! Month of April paid my rent. This room of St. Temple, which serves also as a fourth dimension to that trinity of room of St. Temple, is also a gymnasium. I did hundreds of workouts dedicated to the farmers, and I will continue for the farmers. Farmers first, because everybody gotta eat, even Wall Street. If that's a universal truth, everybody gotta eat. The Pope gotta eat. My Pope is the sun. My Pope is the sun. My Pope is the sun. This for me is my temple here. La Belle Province. C'est mon église. La Belle Province, c'est mon église. La Belle Province, c'est mon église. The joy, my fellow Quebecers, Canadians, North Americans, the joy, the prosperity, the liberty, and the security. And liberty and security, there's something to be attained with liberty and freedom. Because when I step outside, I'm no longer just private citizen Dragan. I'm also public citizen Dragan. And at all times, 24/7, I apply mainly 3 rules when I step into public. Sure, perhaps sometimes I steer too much. It's because sometimes my vision differs. Perhaps I rock and roll. I shouldn't too close. Rock and roll. I sing sometimes in the streets. I dance. I work out in the public. But somebody wants to keep a distance, 2 meters. That's fine. But at all the times, self-defense, defense, and I fight my own battles. Can put on gloves. Can put on the gloves. Hear the youth laughing. I love seeing others have joy, especially our youth. I have my propositions for education and curriculum, increasing physical exercise, and in high school increasing from the age 7 my workout training program system to be encouraged to be done across the collective North American civilization complex, aka the North American collective civilization, aka the North American civilizational complex, to increase in physical education and allow some free dancing, and with consent, of course. I encourage all with consent to give yourselves a hug like you never hugged before. That's the main message. Hug like you never hugged before is the main message of all that I'm going to say. With consent. Don't start hugging people in the streets now. But when I step outside, I'm no longer just private citizen. I'm in my private citizen room of St. Temple. Right here. Room of St. Temple. Trinity plus 4th dimension, a gymnasium which where have lost more than 77 pounds and where have created the most efficient, simple, and effective workout training program which requires no equipment. I'm proud to state that. While admitting that at some things I'm mediocre, at some things I'm average, at some things I'm so-so. I admit, I'm average, so-so, mediocre at some things. These things are hard to admit to ourselves and to others, that sometimes we feel inferior to others in certain circumstances, myself included. Look, when I compare myself to workers at Hydro-Quebec, I recognize my own inferiority and mediocrity and being so-so in terms of the knowledge of all the building of those dams, or the knowledge and complexity of perhaps the electricity, like some experts of Hydro-Quebec would know. But I can rock and roll for them. I'm good at that, so I'm going to do that to compliment and applaud and encourage them to build 7 more dams in Hydro-Quebec in the next 7 years. That I can do. So we got complementary forces to be complementary in a cooperative covenant way for us to maintain this civilization. which we are, a North American civilizational complex, which is not totally divorced from Western civilization, but which is distinct but not divorced. So not divorced totally, but distinct from Western civilization. Our North American civilizational complex. It's a complex. So with very diverse. We're very diverse here. Look at just my neighbor in my street. When I go out, if I would go out to my left side, Quebecers like myself, French Canadians. Next, a Mexican speaking. I'm Mexican, and to the right is blacks, my beautiful black brothers and sisters. So got just a diverse neighborhood in my own. When I step outside, right? When I go outside here, that's the reality of my neighborhood. And sometimes, of course, we have things to deal because we have these differences, cultural differences, linguistic differences. So it's not, sometimes there's tension, sometimes there's hard to admit some things, right? Listen, this and that, I feel like this. And emotions and feelings matter and are important, got to take into account, and we got to deal. But I say in my, as a philosopher, my equation is 2 plus 2 equals 4. But I do not write 2 plus 2 in only one color. Only black or only white or only white or only black. I write it in black and in white and all the colors of the rainbow. The first two I can write it in black or white or green or red. The equal sign, the plus sign, I can write one line black and one write white or red or white or red or green, green and red. And the other two I can write it in black and white, so vice versa. And the equal sign I can write it in orange and pink, and the 4 one line I can write it in violet, the other in purple, and the other in pink orange. So I can include all the 7 colors of the rainbow plus the black and the white, in which I do. That is my way to express my universal revolutionary centrism, if you will. In that equation, 2 plus 2 equals 4, written in black and white and in rainbow. So that's the philosophy, meaning that all these energies and all are can be complementary. That yes, science is important, the rational aspect is important. Brains and muscle has been, is, and will be required for us to maintain civilization and to upgrade civilization. Sure, we have fears inside, irrational fears, which sometimes it's hard to admit and know because we're moved in certain ways to do irrational things. Chew our nails. It's not rational about chewing our nails. We do it anyway. Some people do it, right? Do it every other minute or so. Whatever it is. We have pulsations. We have impulses. Working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice. If I would need something every week, would be a good massage therapy session. It's been more than 3 years since COVID. I'm saying I wish I could afford a massage therapy session. I'm open for business, blah, 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 blah. But my proposition for the Dragan Army, aka the North American Citizen Integrated Defense Only and Solely Defense Only and Solely Defense, to be for security and service, to be able to offer such services with consent, hygiene, and mutual understanding of public-private partnership for North America, a public-private partnership, because fundamentally my trinity of theories to be implemented is fundamentally a public-private partnership, and of course it's manifested as what I call the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, the vice versa, the dragon empire and the dancing goddess kingdom, from Montreal, Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, as a philosopher, artist, poet, and independent psychological analyst and theorist, and universal spiritual teaching student who's not perfect, who says the word goddess, Goddess. And if I want to build a temple, I want to build a temple for the forgotten goddess right here on Mount Royal, of which I'm laying the foundations first and foremost with 718 trillions of kisses. Kisses got credited from the goddess. Kisses got some brain, some muscle got. But I admit I'm mediocre, average, and so some other things. While doing that and trying to break the impasse, because there's nothing that I want to go back to. I just want to live today. And when I step into private, from my private underground room house and temple, when I step into public, I'm no longer just a private citizen. I'm also a public citizen with public responsibilities, duties, and obligations, which are added into this private part, which is I'm sharing with the public. The internet, it's always a balanced public, private, public, harmony and balance and equilibrium. The internet, I entered the sphere of the public. Facebook, kind of a public-private partnership. In many ways, Facebook is a private-public partnership. I can turn everything off, get naked, start dancing naked on Madonna musics, Celine Dion music or whatever soundtrack music, Tekashi 69 or whatever, rock and roll, whatever music. 1 million for 1 hour naked dance. That is my price, to give half, 50% to my anonymous sister friend, who is one of the greatest English teachers and sings great and the best I ever heard. And if somebody would be able to lift the sword of freedom by itself, I would. So the top general of generals of generals. Because my brothers, I got love for NORAD, I got love for NATO, for our brothers and sisters in the uniform representing our Canadian Armed Forces and the United States, and NORAD and NATO, West Side. I got love. I offer tickles, kisses, and big hugs to all the armed forces, and to our veterans, massages and kisses and love and appreciation, and to our firefighters, big hugs, big love, and public security workers. I actually want to call for organized, because part of my citizen integration theory now, where we need coast to coast, ocean to ocean. To the east we got the Atlantic, to the west we got the Pacific, Atlantic, Pacific, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, Canada, US, Mexico, and the islands. I advocate for citizen integration theory, to be integrated at all levels, to be integrated with all firefighters, public security workers, or all levels of civilization. Part of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom is my theory, which I'm calling for the implementation of my theory across all levels of civilization, the CIT, citizen integration theory, calling for an event to be ASAP in the coming weeks, months, and years ahead, to be hug a cop event. Right? We need to exercise together, to do push-ups, hug squats, to exercise for the body. Right? It's important for the body to exercise. And yes, sometimes I am intense. I got intensity. I got this. I got energy. I got sexuality, which is important to channel and sublimate, because repressing it will probably make us sick, man. Will make us sick and diseased. It's like to use some humor with it, sort of to dance in a sort of a dance, right? How many of you think they are part of myself as being LGBTQ, homosexual? My homos. Although I'm pansexual. Right? There's many in the NFL. Colin is not the only one. He was brave enough to say, hey, listen, I'm part of the LGBTQ community, so he's still playing now. Like Michael Sam. I would date and kiss both for world peace. Date and kiss both for world peace. Date and kiss both for world peace. But it's an ongoing liberation. It's an ongoing thing we have. And civilization still has its discontents. Myself, I've been depressed and suicidal. I conquered depression. We're working out, training, and exercising. Sometimes the low aspects and energies of ourselves, and we have feelings of inferiority. If I'm to fight racism in any way with my beautiful black brothers and sisters of color, because I've been to organizations, and blah blah blah, and executive directors, 2 years, 3 years, just blah blah blah. So in my mind, I'll say, God dang it. Give my beautiful black brothers and sisters, offer them a hug, offer them a kiss. You, executive director, ain't even offered them a kiss or a hug yet, man. Man, what is this? What is this? If it's not about love, love is also action. Because blah, blah, Yes. So philosophy and theory has to be also complemented by action. So back to the dream interpretation. So I had this dream. It was kind of like tech gadgets. It was kind of a mixed youth intergenerational type of discussion, but paradoxically in a bus. And then from a bus, it went to this kind of like Jeep, type of Jeep, and there was a discussion. There was this somebody who was very big, kind of like humorous type of fellow, kind of another type of irrational things going on, because some dreams are very irrational. You wake up saying, "What the hell did I just dream?" Right? What the hell did I just dream? And you try to analyze it. Well, these come from the irrational subconscious forces which are part of us. Sometimes they're not easy to admit to ourselves and to others openly, right? And one of the dream was one of my dream. I've said it before in past videos that I've set a limit and a discipline for me to watch pornography, adult movies. So I'm only watching pornography and adult movies, porn. It has its purpose, only during the weekends, during the Sabbath, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom Sabbath, which commences Friday at midnight and lasts until about Sunday sunset. So I stuck to that rule and discipline and regulation for the past months, even more than a year now, only during the Sabbath. But this weekend I did not watch or type or watch any porn whatsoever. I did not go on any porn adult site. I used my own creativity, my own imagination, and I masturbated in my own way, because masturbation is part of our sexual pleasures, and I have my own theories about sexual healing and sexual healing, which you need to be. But nonetheless, this dream was sexual, and I had another dream. Now, like three dreams in one. One about science, one about kind of like philosophy and kind of like comedy, and the third one was about sexuality. So I'm pansexual, right? I'm pansexual, so meaning that androgynous pansexual, I consider myself to be both a man and a woman, both androgynous. My androgynous pansexual, meaning that I believe that, and most people I believe they have the androgyny, but more or less repressed or whatever have it within ourselves. But nonetheless, I am pansexual, right? So being pansexual, I'm open to dating, having with consent and hygiene. Consent and hygiene is important. Consent and hygiene is super important for myself. I was truly pansexual. And to dance and physical pleasure is important, to give and to receive with consent, right? The feeling of the touching the body for me is holy. To give somebody pleasure in whatever way, if it's an ally, an army, pledge your allegiance. If you're an ally, an army, pledge your allegiance. If you're an ally, an army, pledge your allegiance. In whatever type of way with consent. It's holy, sacred in my spirituality to give somebody physical pleasure in whatever way, and to receive it, it's holy for me. But this dream was specifically, it had a very component. We were in a car, and I gotta say it was one of the best. I first I was like, wow, this energies, and this dream was kind of irrational. Part of three different dreams: scientific, and then philosophical, comedy, and then sexual. So kind of like three parts to the same dream. You had the science, the gadgets, and then you had also the component of the philosophical. And then you also had the sexual dream. And the sexual dream was the forces of me, perhaps. Not that I didn't watch over the weekend, but this dream was better than any kind of porn that I watch, any kind of porn that I watch, any kind of porn that I watch. And it was based on one fantasy, which I do have, one fantasy, which is going to be, you ain't no worries, leaders of the free world or anybody who's trying to blackmail me, because I'm so in the open. So even if you can, you can, good luck, try to blackmail me. And that's why I urge the leaders of the free world, whoever it is, if we are to have the freedom to come out, even when they're LGBTQ or allies, of course, if you're an ally to the LGBTQ community or whatever, because otherwise you don't have anybody to external forces outside of Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, or the North American civilizational complex, the complex of North American civilization, to try to blackmail this rainbow dragon in any way, shape, or form. Because there is this possibility, right? If somebody, let's say, has, let's say, Putin and his KGB or whatever it is, or one of our leaders say, hey, you're a prostitute and were peed on, whatever that thing was with the golden showers. Well, so what? Golden showers, consent, that's okay, whatever. So it was a dream about me being a cuck, cuck, cuckold, a cuckold fantasy. Well, who knows? Maybe all gangster rappers also have a stop carrying the kids, man. The gangster rappers, some of them, I'm not gonna give the percentage. 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 gangster rappers fantasize about being put on a leash sexually. 1 out of 10 gangster rappers fantasize about being put on a leash sexually. Out of 10 gangster rappers. I rap for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks. That's my rap. Rap for the workers, firefighters, truckers, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors. Please, strippers, give 10% or a discount to the farmers if they come to the store. But nonetheless, this was me, and it was, I know, it was a fantasy. Or let's say my wife, if I'm gonna marry, if I'm gonna be somebody I already proposed. I said, no, garbage, get that garbage out of my face. Sure you was. Call me names a few times, that's okay. Give you some pleasure. No problem. With consent. I can, world peace, for world peace and North American rejuvenation, I'm willing to be called names while licking, kissing whatever parts of the holy, sacred, and divine body of my allies and armies. There you have it. Thank you. Welcome to the free world, baby. We're free. On est libre ici, tabarnak. On est dans la belle province. Hein. On va être libre, puis en sécurité, puis en prospérité, puis on va bâtir plus des centrales. Puis on va chanter le rock'n'roll, puis on va avoir de l'arc-en-ciel qui va nous voler, puis des autres énergies qui vont être bien en civilisation. Oui. So this dream was specifically, I switched a little bit of French, but I'm going to get to the French, but I gotta go in a minute, go switch, because I gotta do my laundry again as I'm doing. It's my laundry, Monday's laundry day for yours truly. I'm cleaning it. Then after this cup of coffee, I'm gonna write some emails after 3 o'clock because I kind of try to do my taxes. Not that I have many, but so I'm financially struggling, but nonetheless. So this dream was specifically of me, but I said, wow, all the pornography that I watched up to now in terms of cuckold, I said this was the best I ever dreamed. More than all the porn producers. Where y'all there is? Was ist das Schlossen sein Pornografie sind sein sind Geld nicht. And over there, where they at? Somewhere there in South California. Whoever produces the porn, you know the producers and the owners on it. Please give to charity, because everybody got to eat, even the porn producers, me billionaires. Some of you porn producers are billionaires. Don't be so selfish. Give to food security, give some charity, 10% of food security. They're porn producers. Maybe they're making POR and porn idol movies right now. They're free to do so, right? Support the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. And give 10% to charity. That's the dragon's call to the idol movies producers, the big corporations in tech that do money and take money and finance and money from pornography, from idol movies, which are the top few sites, and there are only a few major ones, right, that produce pornography, and it's probably being produced right now, maybe even the cuckold or whatever it is produced now. But this one, I said, wow. I started laughing. I said, this is the best. I dreamed this dream of me being a cuckold fantasy, which sometimes I had. And I have different fantasies sexually with consent and hygiene. Consent and hygiene. Consent hygiene. I like BDSM switch. With consent and hygiene, I like BDSM switch. With consent and hygiene, I like BDSM switch. You know. You can send a memo to the east and to the west outside of North America. You can, yes, Dragan Zero. So, but this dream was the best. I said, wow, I never seen a good porn scene as my dreams. I said, directors of pornography, please give 10%. I said, in this dream, part of it was irrational, but to get some pleasure and purpose from that, part of it was irrational. Part of this dream was irrational, and which many dreams are irrational, hidden fears and hidden lusts. Hidden lust. That's why it's important to channel and sublimate, whether sexuality or aggression. I have both. I have lust, I have sexuality, I have aggression. Channel so that we harm them, because there's, when I step outside in the public, there's three main laws and rules that I observe. At all times, self-defense, defense, 24/7. We have here, called la loi du bon samaritain, the law in Quebec here, La Belle Province, the law of the Good Samaritan. Meaning that if we have a fellow citizen of Quebec, La Belle Province, who we can help, and if it's in danger, we have a sort of a duty and an obligation to help as fellow citizens, whether helping from the fire or whatever it is, for the bon Samaritan. But of course we have to discern, because sometimes I also apply minding my own business. Minding my own business. My business being primarily now the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom, which is for the public-private partnership, right? Because I firmly believe that my trinity of theories brings some solutions to the table. We encourage all fellow citizens to work out, to train, and to exercise. Since I had COVID and almost died back in 2020, early February until about mid-February, is now one day that I don't rock and roll and bless. And again, thank you, farmers, because everybody got to eat. Farmers of Quebec, La Belle Province, Canada, North America, the other North American civilizational complex, the farmers, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, the public security workers, the public transit drivers, the bus drivers, all involved in the production and the distribution of food, now making a sandwich, making a cheeseburger, stacking the shelves in the warehouses, in the docks, putting up the stacking of the docks, and putting on, of course, on the trucks, loading and unloading the trucks with steel toe boots. Public construction workers were building the highways, were pulling out the linid pull, of course, the potholes, or went on the buses, the train conductors and the trains who build the trains, were freight train, public train, whatever the case may be, in terms of the trains which are ongoing now, east, west, north, south, throughout the collective North American civilization. And not just the trains, but of course the planes and everything that we're doing, the cleaning. This independent artist, the people's artist, the people's athlete, and the people's activist, the pro-labor universal revolutionary centrist who rock and rolls, guys, rock and roll ways. I rock and roll for the farmers, and the grocery store clerks, and the butchers and the bakers. Hey, the bakers baking some of that bread. The bakers baking some bread now. The daycare workers. I write children's books. I wrote a few children's books already, and I'm aspiring children's books writer, and I love doing story time and reading to children, of course. And I wrote my themes for what I write about children is usually to do nature, has to do with nature and civilization, and or interaction between nature and civilization, and a little bit of a exercise, physical exercise, because I believe in inculcating our children with reading, and physical exercise, both the brains and the muscle. It takes both the brains and the muscle, and education about the body, hygiene, and of course that this body is nothing to be ashamed of, to be revered for purpose and pleasure, purpose to work, to do art, to do whatever, to bring pleasure to others, to bring joy to others, to bring XYZ, whatever one can give, to have some joy. And of course, in my fitness journey, I've realized that the joy of fitness, whenever I work out, train, exercise, I already feel so much joyous. It's this type of joy which comes by working out, training, and exercising. And if I can bring joy to anybody of my allies and armies, pledge your legions, our de facto family, in whatever shape, way, or shape, form I can, if I will, like I can. So the CIT with the DRT and the DFT, that trinity of theories that I'm calling for its implementation to be fundamentally a public-private partnership for the creation of the two complementary covenantal cooperative institutions, public-private partnership institutions, the North American citizen integrated defense only for North America, coast to coast, ocean to ocean defense. That way is the East, is the Atlantic. That way is the West, is the Pacific. Canada, US, Mexico, and the islands for defense, security, and service and emergency response. Because now we see that with the tornadoes and the hurricanes which we have, they affect both, can affect all the way from Mexico all the way to Quebec, La Belle Province, as has been last year. Of course, with the hurricanes, of course, Fiona, when of course, with the Atlantic was devastated, and even some maybe reconstruction is ongoing now. So to be for emergency response and integrated across all levels, so that we become a family and we rebirth, because I am for the rebirth, regeneration, and prosperity of the collective North American civilization of Quebec, La Belle Province. So it will require some brains and muscle. I believe part of my philosophies and theories to be implemented are part of the answer of public-private partnership and the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit via the Debt Refusion Theory, the DRT, the Debt Refusion Theory for the creation of the UE. Right from Montreal, Hawk Island, from my favorite spot and the headquarters of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, which is the Mount Royal, one of the three peaks, Mount Royal proper on Mount Royal, where is my favorite spot to work out, to train, and to exercise, to do push-ups. And one of the mottos of the Dragon Army is we channel and sublimate the aggression with push-ups. Do push-ups and hugs. We channel and sublimate the aggression with push-ups and hugs. We channel and sublimate the aggression with push-ups and with hugs. Dragon Army to be integrated with the public security forces, armed forces, and firefighters, so that we have with citizens to go to do some push-ups together, go for a jog together, workout, train, exercise, integrate across all level. Citizens with the public security forces, the CIT Citizen Integration Theory, the DRT Debt Refusion Theory for the creation of the UE. That's why I'm calling on my astrological brother Bill Gates, Scorpio Gates, Bill Gates, Scorpio Gates, Microsoft, all corporations, Facebook, Instagram, and big corporations, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, big businesses, and of course all governments and institutions in a non-partisan, non-dogmatic manner. I firmly believe as a universal revolutionary centrist. the implementation of my Trinity for where we are now, facing the geopolitical realities, the verge of World War III, my brothers and sisters, and the reality of the ICBM rocket stands for intercontinental ballistic missiles being able perhaps to reach us from North Korea, not all the way to Montreal, but from Russia, that were built between 1947 and 1989. Do the math, 1989, 1947, that's 42 years, 42 years, 42 years. The intercontinental ballistic missiles were built so it could reach all the way from Russia. It could reach all the way to continental, to right here in La Belle Province, Montreal. The ICBMs, the YARS, the YARS 24, I think is the technical name for the ICBM rocket of Russia that Russia possesses, can reach us. So my policy again for the public-private partnership part of the ongoing Dancing Goddess and Dragon Kingdom is that we have coast to coast a North American defense steel dome, a North American steel security and service dome from coast to coast, ocean to ocean. So I'm calling on Musk also with the satellite Starlinks and NORAD to support it. So we have coast to coast and integrated with all existing organizations and institutions. Coast to coast, that we organize dances, we organize events for pleasure and purpose and workout, train, exercise. And we integrate by the citizen integration treaty to learn, for example, how the dams operate, how the dams work with citizens, how the farms, of course, the dams operate across this La Belle Province, coast to coast, and theater, and all things of civilization and nature to attain harmony between nature and civilization. And we gotta be grateful, for the farmers, for the food, because civilization has its privileges. When I began the year 2023 as the people's doctor, Dr. Dragan, I presented my thesis to the world. My thesis to the world was entitled The Privilege of Civilization. We have privileges of civilization. Civilization is a privilege, my brothers and sisters. We utilize different privileges when we go outside, when we go in the highways, in the train, right? If we did not contribute to building those highways, those trains, the sidewalks, or the dams, or electricity myself, I philosophize, I rock and roll for the Hydro-Quebec, but I did not participate directly, although I praise it, applaud, and I say go Hydro-Quebec, go, but I have the privilege of electricity in many ways, right? It's a privilege. Civilization has its privilege. We all have, from the Prime Minister to my beloved Celine Dion to my Cal Pelado, who's a billionaire, millionaires, to the one financially struggling artist but rich in kisses, because I got plenty of kisses and lots of rock and roll and songs and poetry and music and art and philosophy with that. So I'm rich and affluent and wealthy in many ways. But money. What is money fundamentally? It is to buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. That's why the creation of the universal exchange unit, preferably by biometrics, the hand, the voice, and the eye being used biometric identifiers, is what is needed, I believe, at this point in time in the 21st century for the collective North American civilization, the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit, preferred by DRT, debt fusion theory. I firmly believe in it. Although I'm not perfect, far from it. In the public, when I step in my private, I step in the public, I'm no longer just private citizen. Private citizen Dragan, who has sometimes cuckold fantasy. There you go. RCMP ceases, you know my secrets. CIA, NSA, KGBs are gone now, so FSB. German Stasis are gone after 1989, or 42 years from East Berlin, Germany. MI6, Mossad, yeah, God. You know my secrets. You can blackmail me if you can try. Sexual liberation is still an ongoing process, and then when we have the lust and the aggression to channel and sublimate, because we have different natures, different sexualities, different energies, different competencies, different skills, but they can be complementary. Aggression for defense only. For North America, we can use it together, just for defense and for service. I put it by sublimating and channeling to do good things with sexual energy, sexual impulse, and to do push-ups and hugs. It can be turned into art. Because if we repress right? If we repress and deny that in ourselves, then we attribute being evil when somebody else does it, right? When somebody else does it, right? And we say, hey, that's evil. Well, but they get pleasure from that, right? They get pleasure for that. Let's say one of my allies in the army sisters asks, I will get pleasure to call you names and you can whatever kiss my ass or lick my ass, whatever, lick my ass, kiss my ass, whatever, kiss name, or calling you names. Might be, why not? Consent, hygiene. Sure, rock and roll with it. With my main out and let's rock and roll. Or massage, and I fight my own battles. We can put on gloves. First challenging Donald Trump, and her Tyson Fury was undefeated, although has a draw. So I'm challenging Tyson Fury for her first boxing match, my first and one and only boxing match with Tyson Fury with the gloves. 333 million to give 156 to my anonymous sister friend. So these are all energies which in themselves they're not negative or bad, right? They're not negative or bad, right? Well, somebody might get pleasure from being from the cuckold, from BDSM switch, right? Somebody might get sexual pleasure from calling somebody names while performing cunnilingus, right? Maybe one of my allies in army says, well, can I call you names? Well, do cunnilingus or whatever it is. Well, sure, it's pleasure with consent, hygiene, mutual understanding and love. Consent, hygiene, mutual understanding and love. Consent, hygiene, mutual understanding and love. Sexual pleasure is a holy, divine, sacred thing. Thank you, city workers. Thank you, city workers. Thank you, city workers who are gonna pick up the garbage today. I just heard the truck pass. They picked up the recycling today, and later they're gonna pick up the garbage. Right? Pick up the garbage later. Maybe somebody says, well, can I call you garbage 7 times? Will give me garbage. Go ahead. I might laugh. Creativity and humor, because it's our lusts, our urges to love and be loved and express that love in so many different ways. And to not attribute evil to it when somebody does it, when it's with consent and hygiene, consent and hygiene, right? Why not? My dream I ever had, this dream earlier this morning, I don't know what was it in the morning, what time it was, because I woke up several times, what time it was, but nonetheless, I woke up and it was the best sexually. It was very a few, maybe 44 seconds or whatever. It's hard to tell, but nonetheless, it would have been a scene in a porn adult movies, and it was the best that I ever saw, ever seen. From all the porn producers, please give 10% porn producers. Don't be so selfish. For women's health, give y'all billionaires there. Porn. Who owns the porn? You can check it out. Who owns the porn industry and who owns the porn industry? Who owns the porn industry? I don't own anything. I'm in debt. I'm just a piece of dust, lusting dust nonetheless, who says the word goddess. And if I do want to build something, it will be the temple of the forgotten goddess, the temple of the forgotten goddess, the temple of the forgotten goddess, right here in Mont Royal, Quebec, Canada, La Belle Province. If I want to build a temple, and I'm laying the foundations for that temple with simple rules of conduct, with gratitude for the farmers from that temple, and sunrise, sunset, midday sun, and moon, full moons, rituals. It's going to be very simple to leave for that. A lot of dancing, and I'm laying the foundations to credit that temple building with 718 trillions of kisses. Trillion is 1,000 billion, a billion is 1,000 million. So, kisses God for the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. I'm laying the foundation with all those kisses right from this underground room, awesome temple in the Dragon's Lair. A philosopher, a rock and roller who's not perfect, far from it. Still get moody sometimes. Still wish I could afford a massage therapy session, blah blah blah. But last night, I took a long bath, more than an hour, and I substituted for that massage therapy session. But please, multi-millionaires, billionaire artists, athletes, rappers living in gated communities, got $1 million contracts and artists, please finance the farmers, and the truckers and the butchers and the bakers of North America massage therapy session, because they need it more than me. The farmers, the butchers, the bakers, the firefighters, finance them a weekly massage therapy session. Because the body is a temple for pleasure and purpose. But with the Dragan Army, to offer those services such as massages, cooking, cleaning, working out, training and exercising, XYZ with consent and hygiene, for North America, that is my dream. Part of my dream, part of the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. When the dream I had this morning was, wow, the best, would have been the best porn scene I would have ever had watched ever. And I watched a lot of porn. In my life, I watched a lot of porn. But the one dream that I had this morning, I woke up, somebody rang at the bell, the door. It was my brothers and sisters in uniform. When it was, in this case, I believe, brothers in uniform from the public security forces, and said I'm going to be assistants, because I said la loi du bon samaritain, and of course that is a law here in Quebec, la loi du bon samaritain. Now we have a sort of a duty and an obligation to try to help if we can, such as helping a fellow citizen in distress, being mauled by a dog or something, or having fallen from a tree, or having whatever needs. It's a law here in Quebec. It's called the law of the Good Samaritan, meaning that to help if somebody's life is in danger and otherwise, right? Firefighting, depending on, of course, web security, there's a little bit of nuance to it, but generally I do try to and will try to embody that law, Good Samaritan, as much as I can. And of course, while being in the public, while with my own emotions and my own persona as a citizen, because when I step outside, I'm no longer just private citizen, I'm also a public citizen with the added dimensions of responsibilities, duties, and obligations to do XYZ, to be a good citizens of good conduct. And of course, sometimes maybe I stare, maybe I rock and roll sing, maybe I offend people in the citizens, but that's freedom and liberty, and we got the privilege of civilization. And brains and muscle has been required to conduct. And as we say here as Quebecers, I'm try to be a bon vivant, bon vivant, bon vivant. So I was a bit informal with my fellow citizens in uniform, who, of course, I'm advocating for the citizen integration and the Dragan Army to be integrated with all public security forces and all firefighters and all armies. Of course, public-private partnership, my Dragan Army dream, the dream for the Dragan Army, and complementary to the Dancing Goddess Army, to be for pleasure and purpose, that I'm advocating for and have been advocating during COVID, and advocating today on this live stream and on YouTube, of course. But I was a bit informal, knocked at the door. There was something in the neighborhood going on. So I said, you will come in. I said, come in. I would have open doors, but it's too small. If I would have a bigger house on Westmount, I would have open doors for anybody to philosophize, to give a hug, to give a foot massage, to do some rock and roll, to do some comedy, whatever it is, for whatever service. I would be Monday to Friday, because this is too small. But I invited nonetheless. I said, you guys want to come in? They said, no, we just wanted to improve. There was something in the neighborhood going on in terms. There was some report of maybe some fellow citizen being in distress, and sometimes whatever, screaming, whatever it was the case. And I woke up a bit, and it was a bit informal, and we spoke in French. And of course, I am a French Canadian. I'm a Quebecer, and it was it was a I said that because sometimes when people ask me how are you, if I'm not in a good mood, I usually say comme ci comme ça. I could be better, but I'm grateful my rent's paid. I'm grateful my electricity bill. So I said in French, ça pourrait aller mieux, ça pourrait être mieux, quelque chose comme ça. J'ai répondu, ça pourrait être mieux. So basically, when he asked me how are you, I said it could have been better. And he said, how so? Because I said, pourrait faire plus de soleil. It could be more sun because it's dark and cloudy. I said, I'm could be more sun. So it's a little bit more informal. But of course, we have to embody sometimes professionalism and ethos and ethics in different circumstances. For example, if I am to do a drill, to do some push-ups or workout, you best sure that I'm going to be Dragan Zero independent fitness captain, and I'm going to do push-ups, squats, and workout, train, exercise, which I encourage you all to do. Well, sometimes maybe a little bit of humor, a little bit of comedy, but of course, not to be XYZ, because I'm not perfect, far from it. I've been suicidal and depressed, and I've conquered depression. I've conquered depression with action and working out, training, and exercising has been, is, and will continue to be my medicine and therapy of choice. Rock and roll, that I lost more than 77 pounds, and calling for the rebirth, regeneration of the North American civilizational collective complex, or the collective North American civilization. As me, as a philosopher, that is one of my theories and propositions and beliefs, that we Quebecers, Canadians, and my brothers and sisters in the USA and Mexico, we constitute a collective North American civilization, aka North American civilizational complex, of which we are part of and do different things, and we have different interconnected intersections where we connect. And I am for the rebirth, security, and defense and prosperity of the North American civilizational complex, first and foremost a philosopher. So now I'm going to switch to French, but I will go put my other laundry, because if I do not will to delay it any much longer, because laundry has to be done. So since laundry has to be done, I do have to go proceed with that. So again, thank you, farmers, because everybody got aid in Wall Street. I'm grateful, thankful that my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food, and of course I continue to work and as a philosopher, artist, and activist, and be open for business 24/7. I would have an open doors here policy. Is too small, my room, office, and temple, to have open doors. Too small on the mountain, on the between Westmount 57 Westmount and 53 Westmount, on the Belvedere there on Westmount. It's called on the Belvedere, the name of the street. It's been left for more than 7 years. I've been passing there on my marches. The house has been left kind of decrepit, kind of desolate, kind of decaying. So I'm saying maybe there, if somebody helps, I would be able to get that, to have open house Monday to Friday, and it is Monday today, so I would have open houses, unless to exercise, to dance, to create art, to philosophize. And we're gonna now switch in French. I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna leave the live stream on, I'm gonna put the pause for the video on YouTube. I'm just gonna go to start my machine, the other machine, that is the second load of laundry. We'll be back. See, I got laundry. I'm gonna fold it afterwards. So I'm doing the second load now. But I'm gonna finish with this cup of coffee. And now we're gonna go rock and roll. We're gonna switch it in French. So second cup of coffee, and we're gonna put some. And we're gonna put some of this honey. Holy, sacred, and divine honey. Thank you to the farmers, and of course the the bees. Do not forget the bees. The bees also worked hard here in La Belle Province. This is local produce de chez nous. On remercie les abeilles aussi, parce que les abeilles ont travaillé aussi. Puis c'est du miel de chez nous, de La Belle Province. Et les abeilles ont travaillé aussi. Donc, maintenant, on va changer en français parce qu'on a fait en anglais. On va parler aujourd'hui de l'interprétation des rêves. Les rêves, quand on rêve, je rêve, on rêve, tu rêves, nous rêvons, vous réveillez au le Becherel, je sais pas où le Becherel, on va discuter de votre philosophe, Dragan arc-en-ciel, Adrien Québécois qui danse le plus de La Belle Province en arc-en-ciel. Oui, aujourd'hui, il fait un peu... Il n'y a pas de soleil aujourd'hui, ben il y a du soleil, mais il y a les nuages qui couvrent, et donc c'est de la pluie, puis même que j'ai dit que j'ai entendu à la radio ce matin qu'il va pleuvoir, puis possible d'avoir des inondations, que ça, je sais pas où, hein, pas jusqu'à chez nous, je pense pas, mais peut-être dans les banlieues, fait que on va voir comment il y a de la pluie. Je vais discuter l'interprétation des rêves. Les rêves, ma théorie, d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie de la refusion de la dette, et la théorie de l'intégration démocratique, soit la théorie de la réfusion de la dette, la théorie de l'intégration citoyenne et la théorie de la fusion démocratique. Cette trinité de théories que je fais appel à tous et toutes à soutenir à travers la belle province. Merci les fermiers, parce que tous, il faut qu'on mange. On remercie les fermiers et les camionneurs. Parce que tous, il faut qu'on mange. N'est-ce pas? Si c'est pas l'amour, je veux rien savoir. Si vous me parlez pas d'amour, je veux rien savoir. Si vous me parlez pas d'amour, je ne veux rien savoir. Merci de votre compréhension. Merci de votre compréhension. Merci de votre compréhension. Et l'amour, c'est l'action avec la philosophie des cerveaux. Puis des câlins, ça en prend. Ça en prend. C'est ça que j'ai à vous offrir, premièrement. Des bisous, des chatouilles, puis des câlins en tant que philosophe. Un septième comédien. Un septième comédien qui n'est pas parfait. Je suis pas parfait, loin d'être parfait. J'ai des vices puis des défauts. J'ai des défauts puis des vices. Pas visser, il faut visser les vis. On visse les vis. Pas Lévi, les vis. Elvis. Lequel Elvis? Le graton qui gratte? Votre philosophe artiste qui danse le plus de la belle province vous souhaite premièrement amour et santé. Je vous encourage tous et toutes à faire l'entraînement physique régulièrement. L'entraînement physique sera ma médecine et thérapie de choix. Et c'est... Il faut avouer des fois. Il faut avouer, bon, comme moi j'avoue, dans certaines circonstances, je suis médiocre. Dans certaines circonstances, je suis comme ci, comme ça. En étant comme ci, comme ça, médiocre, je suis aussi excellent, super. J'ai des qualités comme de rock'n'roll, de poésie, de philosophie, qui sont aussi excellentes, qui sont bien, qui sont au-dessus de la moyenne, disons. Mais dans certaines circonstances, dans certaines compétences, dans certaines choses, je l'admets. Je l'avoue, je l'admets, je l'avoue, je l'admets. Dans certaines circonstances, je suis médiocre. Dans certaines situations, je suis comme ci, comme ça. Dans certaines situations, circonstances ou questions de compétences, je suis comme ci, comme ça, médiocre. Peut-être pas si bon, peut-être juste un peu. Des fois, c'est difficile d'avouer. Des fois, c'est difficile d'avouer certaines choses. On parle dans le dos, puis on se fait des choses dans la tête, puis c'est difficile des fois, c'est pas facile d'avouer qu'on se sent inférieur à certains gens, certaines circonstances, moi-même aussi. Dans certaines circonstances, je l'avoue. Je suis pas parfait, loin de là, j'ai des choses comme l'agression, l'admettre qu'on l'a nous autres, puis faire la sublimation, que j'appelle la sublimation, puis la canaliser, diriger l'agression vers de la conduite, puis des actions, des actions qui ne nuisent à personne, qui ne font pas mal à personne. C'est super important. Parce que ne pas l'admettre, puis l'admettre du cacher, puis tout ça, ça peut nous rendre malades, ça peut nous rendre pas bien. Pour ça, je vous encourage tous et toutes à faire l'entraînement physique régulièrement. Je fais appel, j'ai fait appel, je fais appel, je vais continuer à faire l'appel pour le financement par un partenariat public-privé, pour qu'on finance, qu'on encourage, qu'on soutienne nos citoyennes à faire l'entraînement physique. Les émotions, c'est important. Les sentiments, c'est important. Des fois, c'est le subconscient qui nous fait qu'on fait des choses qui sont pas rationnelles. C'est pas tout qui est 2 plus 2 est égal à 4. Mais ça veut pas dire que c'est la seule manière d'interagir avec la société et la civilisation. Moi, quand j'écris cette équation, 2 plus 2 est égal à 4, je l'écris en noir et blanc avec l'arc-en-ciel, toutes les couleurs de l'arc-en-ciel. Le premier 2, par exemple, on peut l'écrire en noir, le plus en jaune, en vert, l'autre 2 en bleu, ou en noir ou en blanc, vice-versa. Si on écrit le premier soit en noir, soit en blanc, soit en rouge, soit en vert, le signe égal, en orange, en violet, puis le 4, on peut utiliser les 3 autres couleurs de l'arc-en-ciel. De 2 plus 2 égale 4. On peut l'écrire en noir et blanc et en même temps qu'on utilise toutes les couleurs de l'arc-en-ciel dans cette équation-là. Ça veut dire qu'on prend les émotions, les compétences, les valeurs, tout ça, puis on les met ensemble pour qu'on soit en harmonie de manière de civilisation. Parce que la civilisation du Québec, québécois, québécoise, Canada, qu'est-ce que j'appelle en tant que philosophe puis analyste en géopolitique, le complexe de civilisation nord-américain. Le complexe de civilisation nord-américain sur le collectif de civilisation nord-américaine. Donc, on fait partie, nous, Québécois, Québécoises, Canadiens. Et donc, on a fait ce compromis. Le grand compromis que j'appelle de la langue française. Que j'aime chanter et tout ça. Le miel, produit des aliments du Québec. C'est du miel de chez nous. Puis, mes philosophies, mes théories sont pour la renaissance, la joie et la prospérité de la belle province du Québec, du Canada, puis avec nos frères et sœurs aux États-Unis, parce qu'on forme un collectif de civilisation nord-américain. Puis je suis pas parfait, pas loin de là. Loin de là. Membre de la communauté LGBTQ, c'est juste une partie de moi, la sexualité et tout ça. Mes compétences, mes efforts, ma volonté pour ma propre renaissance, puis la vôtre, Québécois, Québécoises, que je vous encourage à faire l'exercice physique régulièrement, adopter ma philosophie que le corps, c'est un temple pour l'amour, puis pour le plaisir, puis pour le but, de travailler, de créer d'art, de faire du bénévolat, de nettoyer ma chambre, mon office, mon temple, qui a servi comme gymnase aussi pendant ces dernières années, dans la COVID où j'ai perdu 77 livres. Aussi, il faut que je fasse du nettoyage à tous les jours, quotidien. Ma médecine et thérapie de joie, c'est l'entraînement physique régulièrement. Peut-être après cette session de philosophie avec du café, ça va être je fais mon lavage. Je bénis les travailleurs de l'Hydro-Québec depuis 1944 à maintenant. On a réussi à bâtir 63 centrales d'Hydro-Québec. Je vous bénis. Puis je dis go Hydro-Québec, go, dans 7 prochaines années, vous bâtissez encore 7 centrales. D'ici à 7 ans, vous bénis, vous chante. Go Hydro-Québec, go Hydro-Québec, go Hydro-Québec. Vous en bâtissez encore 7 centrales dans les 7 prochaines années. Je suis content. Mon loyer est payé. On est le 17 avril. J'ai payé mon loyer. 17 avril. J'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, puis j'ai du café, puis j'ai des bananes. Merci à ma soeur anonyme que si je fais 1 million, je donne la moitié. Si je fais 1 milliard, je donne la moitié. Si je fais 1 trillion, je donne la moitié. Puis je fais appel à tous et toutes Québécois, Québécoises, mes frères et sœurs de la belle province, de soutenir mon rêve qui se manifeste comme le royaume de la déesse qui danse et du dragon. En tant que guide spirituel universel, j'ai pas toutes les questions, j'ai des réponses. J'ai pas toutes les réponses à toutes les questions spirituelles. Mes philosophies en moi, mes expériences, des vies passées que j'ai, des réincarnations. J'étais né ici, sur l'île de Montréal, dans une autre vie, en tant que Québécois. Purlaine Québécois dans une autre vie. Puis j'ai aidé Louis Cyr à pousser des chevaux sur une calèche. Chez nous, ici, à Montréal, sur l'île de Montréal. Pour vivre en harmonie, tu sais. Par un effort constant. Puis l'agression, mes frères et sœurs, si on l'a, c'est pour nuire à personne, parce que maintenant, on voit qu'est-ce qui se passe avec la géopolitique dans le monde. Moi, je veux la continuité, la belle province du Québec, l'amour de la jeunesse. Moi, ça me rend plaisir de voir les jeunes faire l'exercice, rire, s'aimer, se donner des câlins, puis pas juste les jeunes, mais tout le monde. Quand vous tenez par la main, vous donnez des câlins en public, ça me rend joie puis plaisir. Parce qu'on a des positions d'amour, d'aimer puis d'être aimé, puis c'est quelque chose que ça peut nous rendre malade mental si on l'a pas, si on le donne pas, si on le reçoit pas. Ça, je peux pas avoir les portes ouvertes ici pour vous donner des câlins à tout le monde. J'ai les portes ouvertes. Si j'avais une place plus grosse, c'est trop petit dans ma grotte arc-en-ciel pour avoir les câlins. Mais du lundi à vendredi, ça sur le Mont-Royal, à Belvédère, entre 57 Belvédère puis 53 Belvédère, il y a une maison qui a été laissée pendant comme 7 ans. Pendant 7 ans, elle a été laissée d'un côté, puis ça a été comme négligé pendant plus que 7 ans. Mais si vous m'aidez à avoir cette maison-là, là-bas, je pourrais avoir les portes ouvertes. Mais ici, c'est trop petit chez nous. Les rêves. l'interprétation des rêves. Des fois, c'est du subconscient. Ça nous démontre nos peurs cachées. On a tous des peurs cachées. Certains gens ils ont une peur des araignées. Pas moi. Moi, je les aime bien, les araignées. Des fois, on a des désirs, pulsations sexuelles qu'on n'est pas toujours conscient qu'on les a. Ce matin, j'ai fait un rêve sexuel. Je regarde la pornographie, mais j'ai fait une entente avec moi-même, comme une discipline, une règle, si on peut dire, une loi que j'ai établie sur moi-même. Je dis, je vais juste regarder la pornographie pendant la fin de semaine, soit le sabbat de la déesse et du dragon qui danse. En commençant de vendredi à dimanche. Dimanche après le coucher du soleil. Maintenant, on est lundi, on ne sait pas le sabbat maintenant. Fait que pendant plus que des mois, puis pendant plus qu'un an, j'ai réussi à maintenir cette discipline, cette règle, cette loi. Ne pas regarder la pornographie pendant les jours de la semaine. C'est une loi. Puis faire l'exercice, puis écrire du rock'n'roll, puis faire l'exercice physique, puis écrire des poèmes, puis offrir mes services. Parce qu'aujourd'hui même, je vais contacter comme j'ai contacté pendant les semaines, les mois, les années, durant la COVID, puis l'année passée, puis hier, puis la semaine passée, puis je vais continuer de contacter pour offrir mes services de comédie, de philosophie à toutes les entreprises, puis les citoyens, parce que je suis prêt pour des propositions d'affaires, de chansons, de danse, d'entraînement physique, comme entraîneur physique indépendant, qui a créé son propre entraînement physique. J'ai créé un système d'entraînement physique excellent. 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 Un système d'entraînement physique excellent. Ça, je les encourage tous et toutes à faire l'entraînement physique régulièrement. Ça a été, ça sera ma médecine et thérapie de choix. L'agression, c'est important de la canaliser. De la canaliser. Faire la sublimation. Les pulsations sexuelles, des fois, sont pas comprises. Enfin, dans les rêves, le monde irrationnel, ça existe. Des fois, le subconscient, ça existe. C'est des énergies réelles en dedans de nous. C'est pour ça que je fais appel à tous et toutes à bâtir le temple de la déesse oubliée, qui va être consacré aussi à l'irrationnel, les émotions. Parce que si on veut aller de l'avance avec le collectif de la civilisation nord-américaine, on va devoir utiliser un peu de comédie, un peu d'humour, un peu de rock'n'roll, un peu d'émotion, puis du savoir, de la science, puis avec les émotions, ça doit danser ensemble. Enfin, c'est une danse qui a des tensions, mais c'est des fois difficile d'avouer aussi. Hein. Des fois, on se sent inférieur, on parle dans le dos, blablabla. Je suis pas parfait, moi. Pas parfait, loin de là. J'admets, j'ai de l'agression, mais mes frères et sœurs de la belle province, je la sublime, je fais des pompes, je fais de l'entraînement physique. En tout temps, j'applique la loi du bon samaritain. C'est une loi qui, j'essaie de mieux, la loi du bon samaritain. C'est une loi qui, ça dit, on a un devoir de pas nuire aux autres, puis s'ils sont en danger de leur vie, qu'on doit d'une manière, le plus qu'on peut faire, c'est d'intervenir, de faire une intervention, comme maintenant on voit une branche qui tombe sur un citoyen, là. Comme la loi du bon samaritain de la belle province du Québec m'obligerait, moi, j'ai un devoir, une obligation pourvue par la loi du bon samaritain d'aller essayer d'aider la personne. Si la branche tombe sur la personne, la loi du bon samaritain, c'est une loi qui existe dans la belle province du Québec. Ça dit que dans une certaine circonstance comme ça, c'est sûr, il faut discerner parce qu'on ne sait pas des fois. Des fois, moi, je me mêle de mes affaires, puis mes théories que je fais appel à du premier ministre mon teddy bear, artiste qui est sur l'aide sociale, à tout le monde. Les petites villes, Saint-Damien, Saint-Adrien. Saint-Adrien, il y en a deux, par exemple. Saint-Adrien, village. Île-la-Madeleine, à Montréal. Nord-sud des 17 régions de la belle province du Québec. je fais appel à tous et toutes à soutenir l'implémentation de ma trinité de théories, la théorie d'intégration citoyenne, la théorie de la réfusion de la dette, la théorie de la fusion démocratique. Cette trinité de théories, c'est trois théories, la trinité de théories que j'appelle, que ça soit implémenté par la quatrième dimension. Puis la quatrième dimension, c'est l'amour. Parce que si c'est pas de l'amour, l'amour c'est l'action aussi. On fait pour nous, pour l'autre, pour l'autre, pour nous. Une danse constante. Je suis pas parfait, mais j'essaie d'être balancé, puis je suis pour le bien commun du Québec, de la Bienvenue, du Canada, puis du collectif notre collectif de civilisation nord-américain, parce qu'on est un complexe, soit le complexe de civilisation nord-américain. Donc on fait partie québécoise, puis dont on a fait le compromis, là, fait un bout, des années, compromis du français en Amérique du Nord. On a fait ce compromis-là pour l'harmonie, la paix du français, puis qu'on continue comme ça. Moi, je peux faire du bénévolat, puis faire du rock'n'roll, l'apprentissage du français à quelqu'un, je vais faire du bénévolat. Envoyez-les chez le dragon arc-en-ciel. C'est moi le dragon arc-en-ciel. Ah ouais, les mains au ciel. Pour que ça danse, faites-moi juste un peu le bordel, pas trop. Et le patron, pas trop. Pas trop. Pas de pas par trop. L'irrationnel, l'émotionnel, comme un rêve. J'ai eu un rêve, mais c'était comme trois parties dans un rêve. Une partie, c'était comme la science. Il y avait comme des choses de science qui se discutaient dans un autobus. C'était pas clair, c'était un autobus scolaire ou c'était un autobus comme public ou privé. C'était pas clair, mais c'était un autobus. Puis il y avait des gens qui discutaient des choses. C'était comme des marionnettes, peut-être des drones qu'on appelle les survols, là, des petits gars. Je vais utiliser un anglicisme, mais c'était des. J'essaie de pas, quand je parle en français, j'essaie de pas utiliser des anglicismes. Là. Le fils de la langue française, je vous aime bien, mais envoyez-les chez nous, je vais faire du bénévolat pour qu'ils apprennent la poésie et la philosophie, il n'y a pas de problème, mais en grand. Tu sais, mais c'était des choses de science. C'était comme des marionnettes avec des batteries. Je sais qu'il y avait des batteries dans le rêve, fait c'était des choses électroniques. Tu sais, mais c'est pas clair vraiment que c'était, mais c'était des discussions scientifiques. Ça, c'est clair que c'était des discussions scientifiques. Dans une partie du rêve, dans l'autre partie, c'était comme philosophe un peu. Puis la troisième partie, c'était un côté sexuel. C'était un côté sexuel que moi, en tant que je l'avoue, que dans mon imagination, mes fantaisies, des fois, je me masturbe aussi. Je regarde la pornographie juste. Cette fin de semaine, cette sabbat, il vient de passer, j'ai pas regardé pantoute. Pas regardé pantoute. Mais ça fait partie de nous. Les impulsions sexuelles. Puis le consentement, c'est super important. Le consentement, le dialogue. Moi, avec mes alliés et mes armées, si je peux leur rendre plaisir d'une manière, c'est super important en tant que ce que je disais, la liberté. Puis je fais appel à nos chefs politiques aussi, là, dans le monde libre, à travers l'Amérique du Nord. Puis, sinon, pour pas que ça. Imaginez-vous, si à un moment donné, c'est XYZ d'une situation que nos chefs, ils peuvent être chantagés, du chantage par, je sais pas, là on a des ennemis à travers l'océan Pacifique. L'Ouest, mais on a peut-être des ennemis à travers l'océan. On va dire qu'on n'a pas des ennemis en tant que Nord-Américains, Québécois, Québécoises, mais avec ce qui se passe en géopolitique, là, on a du monde qui nous aime pas, qui veulent pas que notre société québécoise, puis canadienne, puis nord-américaine, parce qu'on est des nord-américains, on va dire, notre civilisation du complexe de civilisation nord-américain, des nord-américains qu'on prospère, qu'on continue à bâtir d'autres centrales, qu'on soit en sécurité, puis en liberté, puis en prospérité, puis joyeux, qu'on soit bien fort, qu'on ait de la joie, puis qu'on s'amuse, puis qu'on prospère, puis qu'on bâtisse plus de centrales du Québec pour qu'on soit en prospérité, puis qu'on prospère, puis qu'on construise plus de gratte-ciel, puis le temple de la déesse oubliée qu'on construise avec construire de l'Hydro-Québec. Merci les constructeurs, merci les travailleurs des usines, les travailleurs des autobus en tant que philosophes, artistes, athlètes, poètes. Je remercie les fermiers en premier. Là. Puis j'ai eu la COVID en 2020 au début de février jusqu'à peu près à mi-moitié février. J'étais vraiment malade. C'était comme la pestilence, la mort. Là, mais l'entraînement physique, ça me guérit. Rien que je veux retourner de l'en arrière. Je veux juste aller de l'avance. D'aujourd'hui à demain. De retour en discutant mon rêve, c'était une partie scientifique, une partie philosophique, puis une partie c'était de la sexualité. Tu sais. Fait que j'ai dit, on va faire une analyse, parce que je suis analyste, pas juste en géopolitique, mais aussi dans les rêves. Puis c'était beaucoup irrationnel. Tu sais. C'était des choses, des émotions qu'on a. Peut-être mon désir d'apprendre plus sur la science qui se manifestait dans mon rêve. En discutant avec des scientifiques dans cet autobus, puis de la philosophie, parce que je suis un philosophe aussi, en discutant de la philosophie, puis après j'ai un côté sexuel aussi, je fais partie de la, qu'est-ce que j'appelle pansexuel. Je me considère androgène, ça veut dire homme-femme, femme-homme, que j'ai les deux, le homme puis le femme, les deux, ça prend deux pour le tango. Ça prend deux pour le tango. Ah ouais, deux, trois pas. Par à gauche, puis par à droite dans un cercle. Pour la déesse. Pour la déesse. Non, être androgène, c'est avoir les deux. Puis je pense que la, la majorité des gens, on est androgène, j'y pense, en tant que philosophe. Mais on reprime, puis on reprime. Mais c'est important de l'admettre aussi, d'admettre certaines choses, puis de guérir. Merci les travailleurs de la ville. Merci les travailleurs de la ville qui passent pour prendre la poubelle toutes les semaines. Merci les travailleurs de la ville qui passent pour prendre le recyclage, le compostage 3 fois par semaine. J'enlève mon chapeau et je les salue, les travailleurs qui travaillent pour la ville, pour le compostage. Merci beaucoup. S'il vous plaît, financez-leur avec les fermiers aussi, puis les camionneurs. Céline, millionnaire, Pelado, puis financez-leur un massage. Ils ont besoin d'un massage plus que moi, je pense. Moi, ça fait 3 ans que j'en veux un massage, mais je vous remercie, je suis content d'hier avoir pouvoir pris un bain. J'ai pris un long bain pendant 1 heure, plus qu'1 heure. J'étais dans le bain, l'eau chaude, je vous recommande, je vous suggère, puis je vous encourage à prendre des bains réguliers. Là. Je dis, bon, ils ont besoin plus que moi, les fermiers, les caméras d'un massage. Fait que je fais appel aux millionnaires, milliardaires, M. Pelado, de leur financier, aux fermiers, quelque chose, pour qu'il y ait un massage, une session de massage thérapeutique. Bon, en tout cas. Fait que le rêve que j'ai eu, c'était 3 parties. J'interprète comme mon désir d'apprendre plus sur la science, les radios, l'internet, les téléphones intelligents, parce qu'il y a des choses qu'on connaît, puis il y a des choses qu'on connaît pas. Puis aussi, le côté philosophique, en discussion scientifique, philosophique, puis après ça, c'était sexuelle. Il y avait la philosophie, la sexualité, puis en plus de ça, la science, dans mon rêve. Scientifique, philosophique, puis sexuel. La sexualité, la philosophie, puis la science, dans ce rêve-là. Dès ce matin, je ne sais pas vers quelle heure qui était, là, mais non, fait que c'est 3 éléments de notre civilisation, puis de nous-mêmes, parce qu'on a un côté, dans la civilisation, on a la science, on a la philosophie, puis on a la sexualité. Fait que, je peux analyser mon rêve comme en tant qu'est-ce qu'on a dans une civilisation. Puis des fois, il y a des tensions, des fois, il y a des fois, il y a des petits conflits, mais des conflits qui peuvent se régler d'une manière en harmonie, en équilibre, puis pour ne pas faire mal à l'autre. Parce qu'il y a des natures qui sont natures, puis un côté sexuel plus arc-en-ciel, plus rouge. Moi, c'est rouge, écarlate, peut-être plus, avec du vert, des fois avec du blanc, des fois avec du noir, des fois avec ci comme ça. Tu sais? Puis mon rêve sexuel, c'était quelque chose que peut-être que déjà j'ai eu comme fantaisie, que j'ai déjà eu comme une fantaisie, je me suis déjà, mettons, masturbé, puis déjà en me faisant plaisir, en avoir ce plaisir-là, qu'on appelle en anglais le cockle. Donc, en bref, comme fantaisie que je suis marié ou qu'avoir une femme, même si moi-même je suis androgyne pansexuel, ça veut dire que je suis j'aime les hommes, puis j'aime les femmes, j'aime les femmes, puis j'aime les hommes, puis j'aime aussi le sadomasochisme, les deux bords, que ce qu'on appelle en anglais le change, le switch, fait que j'aime le sadomasochisme en tant que ça, j'aime ça, mettons, avec consentement, me faire fouetter, puis peut-être appeler des noms. Maintenant, vous savez mon secret, là, vous savez mon secret, là. Vous pouvez faire ce que vous voulez avec. Parce qu'en privé, le privé puis le public, c'est toujours, vous vivez en harmonie. Quand on est dans le privé, puis tout ça, des fois, on se sent pas confortable de l'avouer, tout ça, mais si on veut être libre et tout ça, des fois, c'est mieux. C'est pour ça que je fais appel au chef de l'Amérique du Nord, du monde libre, de faire attention aussi, parce que pas qu'il y ait des forces externes qui peuvent chantager nos chefs, nos généraux, puis tout ça, qui soient homosexuels, ou qui soient d'une manière, tout ça. Si on est libre, puis en sécurité, puis en défense de l'Amérique du Nord, tout ça, puis pas qu'il y ait du monde, soit des services de sécurité secrets, je sais pas d'où, d'ailleurs, à travers l'océan, quelque part, qui sont pas de chez nous, de la belle province, qui peuvent nous chantager nos chefs, puis tout ça. Comme mon teddy bear, mettons, mon teddy bear, mon premier ministre, M. Legault, mon ministre, mettons que, je sais pas, il y a une relation, ou je sais pas, moi, quelque chose qui s'est fait un moment donné, mettons, plaisir, qui est allé, je sais pas, une chose sexuelle, on peut s'imaginer quelque chose, puis que ça soit filmé, ou je sais pas quoi, puis que ça soit sur Internet, du cocodile, puis qu'il fasse quelque chose, pour pas qu'il se fasse chantager, tu sais. Pour qu'il y ait, je sais pas, on va dire, les services de sécurité, services secrets de la Russie, on va dire, russe, quelque chose, chinois ou russe. D'ailleurs, pas de l'Amérique du Nord, pas de Nord-Américain, qui essaie de chantager mon premier ministre avec ça. Vous comprenez? Attention. Faut pas qu'ils peuvent chantager mon premier ministre, et puis tout ça. C'est ça que moi je l'avoue, fait que. Mais c'est un côté privé, la sexualité. Ça a pris des efforts pour la liberté sexuelle, la libération sexuelle. C'est pour moi-même, ça a été avec douleur, avec des larmes, puis des larmes, puis des larmes, puis de la souffrance, puis de tout ça. Mais c'est des énergies qui peuvent être intégrées. Mais pour pas qu'on attribue le négatif puis le mal. Tu sais? Mettons, on va dire ma soeur, elle veut faire du cuckolding ou whatever, mon ami, elle veut me fouetter, ça lui rendrait plaisir sexuel de me traiter de toutes sortes de noms pendant que je lui donne un cunnilingus. Cunnilingus, puis je donne des becs puis des bisous. Je peux-tu te fouetter un peu? Je demanderais, ça te donne-tu plaisir? Pendant une demi-heure, je mets ça une demi-heure, mon dragon arc-en-ciel, juste fouetter un peu, puis t'appeler des noms, puis dire que t'es poubelle, puis tout ça. Peut-être je dirais oui, ça t'emmènerait plaisir. Ma chum de fille, ou je sais pas quoi, une amie, ou un homme, que ce soit un homme ou femme, moi je suis arc-en-ciel, fait que y a pas de problème, ça rend plaisir. Pourquoi pas? Tu sais, puis pour pas qu'il y ait des personnes qui peuvent chantager nos chefs, nos chefs libres pour leur sexualité, puis pour avoir leur. Avec, que ce soit avec consentement, bien sûr, le consentement, hygiène, super important. L'hygiène, le consentement, puis l'entente mutuelle. L'entente mutuelle. Super important, ces choses-là. Pour pas qu'il y ait de. Pour qu'ils peuvent se faire chantager dans certaines circonstances par des forces externes, que ce soit de l'Est ou de l'Ouest à l'Est, à travers les deux océans, que je fais appel pour la défense mutuelle, parce qu'on a deux océans. En tant que Nord-Américain, à l'Est, c'est l'Atlantique, à l'Ouest, c'est le Pacifique. Fait que pour la défense, je veux juste revenir, je veux juste aller bien vite, je vais finir de toute manière, j'avais dit, pour ça je vais continuer, mais je veux dire l'interprétation des rêves, tu sais que c'est des fois dans nos rêves, ça nous montre des fois le subconscient, l'irrationnel, des forces, des pulsions irrationnelles qu'on a tous et toutes d'une manière plus ou moins dans certaines circonstances ou certains cas qui nous amènent à faire agir d'une manière, que ce soit par l'agression, mais pour nuire à personne. Puis c'est important de faire de l'entraînement physique, puis faire des pompes, puis avec constamment donnez-vous des câlins. Puis c'est important d'avouer, moi, j'avoue, j'aurais besoin d'un massage, j'aurais besoin d'un partenariat, participation, collaboration, d'avoir une plus grosse, peut-être maison, pour avoir les portes ouvertes, pour chanter du rock and roll, puis faire l'entraînement physique, puis faire ci, puis faire ça en tant que philosophe, analyste en géopolitique indépendant, puis guide spirituel universel qui dit, puis fait appel, qui dit le mot déesse, de la déesse, que je veux construire un temple, ça va être pour la déesse oubliée, puis avec des câlins, puis des bisous, puis de la conduite simple pour le coucher du soleil, le lever du soleil, l'après-midi, le soir, les pleines lunes, puis pour bénir le fermier pour qu'il double leur production, les patates, d'autres choses. Mais en allant à mon rêve, c'était un rêve qui a fait 3 parties qui était qui intégrait 3 parties, philosophique, scientifique, puis sexuelle. Puis le côté sexuel, c'était un désir, un fantasme que j'ai déjà eu. Puis c'était qu'est-ce que j'appelle le cockholding, soit t'as une blonde ou un chum, une femme qui, euh, qui fait l'amour avec une autre personne, qui fait l'amour avec un autre homme, disons, qui fait l'amour avec un autre homme, qui fait l'amour avec un autre homme, disons, tu sais, puis tu te fais peut-être niaiser ou peut-être dire des noms, puis mettons, ça peut être là, je sais pas, la comparaison du pénis, tu sais. Moi, j'en ai un petit, des fois, rocket, ça, comme à l'occasion, très rarement, ça. Très rarement, occasionnel. Sinon, j'ai un clitoris, pénis, clitoris, un petit androgène que j'appelle un petit androgène, mon petit androgène comme ça. Mais des fois, ouf, par miracle, par la déesse. Mais pour pas qu'on attribue de mal, le diable, le diable, je le connais pas. Le pape, c'est le soleil est mon pape. Le soleil est mon pape. Là. Manière, le pape il est venu nous voir, puis il nous offre pas des câlins. C'est mieux qu'il reste là-bas de l'autre bord. Il traverse pas l'océan pour venir me voir. Je vais vous donner un pape à l'arc-en-ciel avec des bisous, des châteaux, des câlins, du rock'n'roll à la place de Mont-Royal. Ça va être quelque chose. Mais bon, les rêves, on a le côté qui est irrationnel, qui est émotionnel. Des fois, c'est le subconscient. Soit nos désirs, nos fantasmes, nos peurs, aussi qu'on a, tu sais. Ça peut être, comme j'ai dit auparavant, mon rêve qui faisait 3 parties. Scientifique, philosophique, puis sexuelle. Puis toutes ces choses-là font partie de notre civilisation nord-américaine, le complexe de civilisation nord-américain. Donc on fait partie québécois puis québécoise. Ça fait partie de nous. La philosophie, à tous les jours maintenant on applique. La science, je suis en train de voir utiliser l'Internet. Ça connecte avec d'autres ordinateurs. L'application sur mon téléphone, sur YouTube, je suis en train d'utiliser mon laptop et mon téléphone intelligent. Ça connecte avec, bien sûr, qu'est-ce qu'on appelle le sans fil. Ça connecte avec d'autres. En théorie, ça peut être intercepté, ça peut être interpellé par quelqu'un, une deuxième partie, une troisième partie. Puis ce matin, c'est ça. Il y a eu quelque chose qui s'est passé dans mon quartier. Puis ce matin, mes citoyens portent l'uniforme de l'ordre public. Ils sont sonnés à la porte. La police, pour les ASPVM. J'ai répondu, qu'est-ce qui se passe? Tu voulais-tu rentrer? Moi, chez nous, c'est trop petit pour avoir les portes ouvertes. Puis il dit, non, vous avez-tu entendu quelque chose? Je dis, non, ma soeur est venue. Puis, tout ça, j'ai dit, bon, ça n'a pas été... ça n'a pas été, je dis, il faut intégrer les citoyens dans l'Amérique du Nord par des actions. Comme, je veux organiser une action concrète régulièrement, ça s'appelle Hug a Cop en anglais, ça donne un câlin à un policier, un câlin. Ils ont besoin d'amour aussi. Nos pompiers, nos forces d'ordre en service, ils ont besoin aussi d'amour, ils ont aussi leurs petites difficultés, puis faire l'entraînement physique ensemble avec les citoyens, puis ma théorie d'intégration citoyenne, c'est pour créer le partenariat public et privé, parce que fondamentalement, je fais appel à un partenariat public et privé dans toutes mes théories, puis l'implémentation de mes théories, soit la théorie d'intégration citoyenne et la théorie de la réfusion de la dette et la théorie de la fusion démocratique, c'est principalement un partenariat de public-privé, PPP qu'on appelle. Je fais appel à tous et toutes à soutenir de quelle manière que vous pouvez, par amour, par chanson, qu'on soit efficace. Après le rêve qui avait de la science, la philosophie dans le rêve, puis la sexualité, ça fait partie de nos jours aussi. Tu sais? Comme nos frères et sœurs, tu sais, qui sont en uniforme, soit les pompiers, puis dans l'armée, tu sais, qui vont avoir la sexualité aussi, qu'est-ce qu'on, tu sais, c'est pour pas réprimer, pour pas qu'on se fasse malade, parce que si on réprime nos impulsions d'oxygène, on va nous rendre malades pour ne pas faire mal à personne, pour pas s'entretuer entre nous autres. Déjà, on doit vivre plus en harmonie, plus en équilibre, pour la renaissance de la belle province, puis du Canada, puis le collectif de civilisation nord-américain, ça prend beaucoup de travail constant, tous les jours, au quotidien. Mais nos frères et sœurs en uniforme aussi ils ont de la sexualité, puis des impulsions, puis des désirs pour le plaisir aussi. Il faut être professionnel, c'est sûr. Il faut être ci puis ça, mais on est des êtres humains aussi, avec des émotions, des désirs. Ça, des fois, c'est subconscient. T'sais? C'est l'intégration citoyenne. Faire l'exercice physique, puis prendre soin de le corps, ma philosophie. Puis le consentement. Qu'on soit libre, puis pour la renaissance. Ça prend de l'action. Moi, j'ai été suicidaire en dépression. J'ai conquis la dépression. Je suis pas parfait, loin de là. Je rock'n'roll. Loin d'être parfait, je joue pas au sein. Loin d'être parfait, je joue pas au sein. Loin d'être parfait, je joue pas au sein. Puis avec ça, on va finir sur le Facebook du premier épisode parce que j'ai encore du travail à faire. Je fais mon lavage, donc nettoyer ma chambre, puis je dois écrire, puis faire cette semaine. Ça va. Amour et santé, amour et santé, amour et santé. I'm gonna end the broadcast.